Hello everybody, my name is The Watching Relic, and welcome to the review of Incendia. Let's get straight into this MOC. So, the reception on this guy has been quite surprisingly good. I mean, I generally expect a decent reception. I haven't had any MOCs so far where everyone has just gone like, "Oh, that's horrible! Trash it! Go die in a violent car crash!" Although that probably should have been the reaction on the original version of Phil. But anyhow, we're not talking about him today. We're talking about Incendia. This light's little leg is like pushing out and causing shadows there. Oh no, there we go. Yeah. This MOC has some pretty ancient origins. Well, not this MOC, but the character anyway. This was kind of one of those MOCs where I pretty much just said, okay, here's the color scheme, let's get all the parts I have in these colors and just make something. And there were so many different ideas and visions for what the completed version was going to look like for this, whatever this was going to become, that by the time it turned into this, I mean, this was not remotely my original, idea of what this MOC was going to look like, not even close. And that's always kind of a fun way to build, and it's honestly how I build most of the time. I know some people have this amazing ability to just call up a mental image and then recreate it in pieces, but I don't have that most of the time. So as far as the character is concerned, the character has a long history. The character of Incendia has been a main villain in many of my Bionicle stories, and I'll put up some images of what this guy used to look like. As you can see, always been a fire-themed, evil-looking dude, but has changed a lot. And let me tell you, this MOC here was not originally supposed to be a new version of Incendia. It was more of an after-the-fact decision that I just thought would be kind of fun to call back to an old MOC. And, there is one minor tie-in between the two, the old and the new version of the character, and that actually has to do with an older version. The version you're seeing right now is from, I think, 2015 or something. The version that is coming on screen right now, that is from 2013, and it does have the same scroll shield hat thing. So there's a little bit of a connection visually, and that was part of the reason I decided to do this, because I was like, haven't I used this on a MOC before? And I was like, yes, I have. And it was a gosh darn old MOC. So anyhow, that's really all there is to say about origins and ideas. Oh, a quick thing to address. People pointed out that he doesn't look very fire-themed. That is true. My idea for this, with him being called the Living Inferno, was kind of less that he was fire-themed and more that he was heat-themed. So instead of flame, this is supposed to be pure heat energy or something. I don't know. It's probably stupid, but without further ado, let's get into the build. Alright, so the feet are protector feet. There's really no need to get into just how much I love these feet. Although, I mean, I guess just quickly I can say they're really small, well-proportioned, satisfyingly shaped. They have strong socket connections because they're newer parts from the CCBS era, and they also have little bar connections for toes or just extra texture like in the case of this MOC, and they have really nice, great connection points for greebles here, and there you go. Okay, that's all I'll say. The point is, I love these feet, and everybody should worship them, and that's that. The legs on this MOC overall are probably the worst part of it. I am actually pretty satisfied with the whole upper half. It's not a very impressive MOC, but I think it's a really solid MOC. But the legs, not so much. So let me just kind of pull up the arms here to get them out of the way a little bit. The lower leg is a custom design, but it's like many things you have seen before. It's literally just hand connector, one of these little gray Technic bits that Witch Doctor had a bucket load of, and then a Glatorian neck, and then some little greebles added on, and this 2008 era silver armor piece, and then one of these Uniter. Were these from the Uniters? I believe so. These sort of crystalline looking armor pieces. These are actually very, very pretty looking because of the fairly well done color melding and everything. And that's it. It kind of results in a lot of gaps from the side, but from the front it's fine. The upper leg is just straight up CCBS bone with a shell and an Anika armor covering up the back. These legs are actually pretty well articulated, and I'd say that's the one cool thing about them, is they're pretty, apt for posing. They're very much good for getting various positions out of the legs. And that's one of the cooler things about this MOC. He's not the most amazing looking thing in the world, but he is by far one of my most well-articulated and stable creations. He's not very big, so you can really play around with this guy and kind of have some classic action figure fun, and the legs are the epitome of that. Alright, so the torso. The torso is actually quite a nice looking little thing. Let me just move my little camera up and zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna snap off his arms. Oh no. Yeah, the torso is interesting. The torso is pretty simple. I'm gonna take off his head too. Oh dear lord. Okay, I popped off the chest plate, but I actually wanted to do that, just not right then. Yeah, little Tahu Master mask. Now, the way it's actually built is simple as all heck. There's just, again, one of these little gray witch doctor type pieces, and then one of the little axle hole opening areas has just this long black axle running through it, and that holds these little like Technic bits and the Borak eyes and some other greebly things, and of course the actual ball joints in the shoulders. And then the lower bit just connects to a 3 long little lift arm in black that you can see there. That's one of the ones where it has pinhole, and then an axle hole running the other direction. And then that just clips onto, like, I think just like a really standard 5 long, plain, light gray lift arm that you can kind of see in there, which then goes down to the plain old Metru hips. So it's really a not complicated use of some really common Technic parts, but in the end, it results in a pretty nice looking torso, and the main reason for that isn't the actual construction, it's all the pieces on top of it. Between this as the chest plate, the little Tahu 2015 mask, and the use of the Uniter armor pieces in there, the Rakshi head, this piece which is the same as his shin armor, and all these Borak eyes, kind of getting some nice shaping, very hunchbacked, with like the amount of stuff like up above the shoulders. He just has like this big mound up above his shoulders, which is pretty nicely shaped, and little CCBS armor kind of completing that. The whole thing is just kind of full of subtle, nice part usages, little NPUs, if you will. None of the parts usages are like super amazing. There's not any single part usage where it's like, oh, I can't believe I used that part for that. But it's really solid. There's almost no gaps or internal structure visible. It's just lots of little armor pieces and shell pieces, not necessarily CCBS shells, but just, armor shell type things in general, and masks and whatnot. Just makes a really solid looking torso with some really like consistent, solid shaping to it and whatnot. And overall, I'm really satisfied with this. It's actually pretty like skinny and not very wide shoulders. He looks bulkier when he's all put together, but the torso itself is pretty slim. The arms are super basic. CCBS arms. I know you're all shocked. The hands are kind of okay, I guess. They use this interesting little piece with an axle hole in the center and then a little bar going out in every basic direction. I don't even remember where these are from. They're in dark gray, which is not part of the color scheme. It's supposed to be light gray and black for the kind of underlying colors. So that's unfortunate, but you don't notice it too much. And this little middle bit does give a connection point for his blades, which, here they are, stacked together. Let me get them apart. They're just a little hinge axle hole piece. There we go. And then one of these nice little translucent helicopter blade type pieces, and it just goes on right there. And I won't even bother doing it for the video, but anyhow, yeah, it's the main interesting thing with the arms is this little friction connection with these 2010 Glatorian Legend type little pieces. And I mean, there's nothing to say about it. Just when you have a little CCBS thing on there, it just goes right under. I'm not sure exactly like all the sizes and orientations of bones and shells that actually allow this and all the ones that don't. I'm sure there's lots of different little orientations of CCBS parts where you can still get this connection to work, and it looks pretty dang nice, and it's pretty dang stable as well. I don't think I've seen anybody use this. You could actually make it even more stable if you sent a little lightsaber bar thick thing through there, like a T-piece maybe or something, but you don't really need to. Talking about the head, let me Yep, there we go. Uh-oh. There we have it. The head is... It doesn't want to focus. There we go. So the head is a pretty basic design. It's just a hand connector, which doesn't fully cover up the bottom of this translucent disc-looking thing, so you can kind of see, like, the bottom of that piece coming through when he looks up and stuff. That's unfortunate, but whatever. From the front and the sides, it looks fine. And yeah, it's just a black hand piece. This little disky piece from... I think that must be from one of the stud shooters from the 2016 sets. Or, sorry, no. It must have been from one of the protectors? Oh, you know what? I think it's Quake Beast, of all darn sets. I could be wrong, though. But anyhow, that's the eyes, and then we have this weird little, like, ammo belt piece that was used on some Hero Factory sets, and I believe it's just another... Yeah, it's just another hand connector up on top that this is wrapping around, and then through the whole thing connecting both hand connectors, the piece in the middle, and the hat is just a 4-long axle with a stopper. And then, of course, the little ammo belt piece is way too long, so it has this thing sticking out. It makes the brow look really nice, but has this bit sticking out, which I just decided to make like a braid, I guess. And you know what? It's simple, and it doesn't work from every angle, but it's honestly one of my favorite custom head designs I've come up with. It's basic as all get out, but it just is really effective, and it gives him kind of a cool visor look. So I would say that the main theme with this MOC is pretty much, it's nothing remarkable, but I'm really satisfied with it. Like, it's a really solid, simple MOC, and sometimes that's the best kind of MOC. There's the size comparisons last minute as usual. This was Incendia the Living Inferno, a rather awesome name for a rather, again, simple basic MOC, but whatevs. My name is The Watching Relic, and I will see you all next time.